What is up, everybody? Ninja Nick here with Tactical Gaming, bringing you guys another video. And this one is on retail theft, and retail theft at a unique store called Lululemon. Now, I've never heard of Lululemon until I watched the movie Chips. And if you don't know what Chips is, it's a very hilarious movie that was based off of the TV show from the 80s. And it is hilarious considering one of the characters in it was supremely addicted to wearing women wearing these, Lululemons, which I found out were very expensive stretch pants, yoga pants, basically. And I know that because my girlfriend knows about them, and she knows that they're expensive. Huh. Now, this one is going to be about how Lululemon, the company, or at least this specific one, fired two ladies from their store. Not because they got into a physical altercation, not because they beat up anyone or did anything wrong. No, they called the cops. They fired them because they called the cops. Now, their reasoning behind it is they have a zero tolerance policy. Zero tolerance for them calling the police. And it's in their policy that they cannot call the cops, which should concern you if you work for Lululemon. I personally, if I would have read that policy, or even with me knowing about that policy now, would never want to work for Lululemon. Because, one, it was just two women in there, and the thing is, what would have Lululemon, the company, or at least this one specific place in this area? Which, if you want to know more about it, go check out Black Conservative Perspectives video. He did one, and it is quite hilarious that they thought they did good on this. And I mean, the company Lululemon, the ladies, they did good. They made sure they recorded it and everything else. The whole incident, they never laid hands on them. They just told them to stop and go away. That's literally it. They never called them names. They never did anything vulgar or irresponsible or disrespectful at all. Period. Now, so my question to Lululemon is, why, if your associates can't call the police, why is there no security guards there? Why are they not allowed to defend themselves? Why are they, just strictly allowed to sit there, watch as their jobs just slowly disappear? Because as a retail owner, you can sit there and fire and let go anyone, and you still have your stores and you're still making money. But what about the person who's working for you, Lululemon? Right? Like, I honestly think we should boycott Lululemon, much like how people have been boycotting, Target for a lot of the stuff that they've been doing. Because what in the heck are you guys thinking about when you're like, you know what? Don't call the cops. Just let them steal whatever. So then, when that one store location is underperforming, kind of like how over in Chicago, how they close those certain stores down because of underperformance, but they don't want to actually be full forthwith about why, and it's because of theft and destruction. Don't believe me? There was a black young lady. Now I'm pretty sure she's about my age. She's a mom, and it was heartbreaking watching this video because me being a parent, me working retail and everything else, it's just heartbreaking that, a company will allow stuff like this to happen. Like in Chicago, why all those Walmarts shut down was because of theft up the wazoo. But not only theft, but destruction. These people were going in, ripping things down off the shelves, ripping shelves down, breaking things, everything like that. And if you've ever worked retail, guess who has to clean that up? The worker. And that's not even a part of their job, really. Like, yes, store maintenance is a part of their job, but the thing is, when a retail giant like Walmart is allowing people to come in and do that on a constant basis and not change anything, is ridiculous. Oh, wait, no, that's right. Target, Walmart, and every other retail giant that's out there, they decided to lock everything up, which is going to irritate the actual customers who actually want to buy stuff because they can't get a hold of what they want to buy, and then they're forced to wait on a retail worker who might be already previously helping another customer or customers on another end of the store or somewhere else unlocking something else. Like, come on now. Like, they want to be so passive, it's ridiculous. But yet, go figure. So, these two young ladies, I'll just give you their first names. One Jennifer, one is Rachel, right? And this was a Peachtree corner store. They had no security at all whatsoever. And in my opinion, that's also a bad idea if you're going to have a zero tolerance policy towards calling the police. If you're going to have a zero tolerance policy to calling the police, which is the one means to, protect and defend yourself, seeing that guaranteed, much like other retail stores, they don't allow their employees to carry a gun because, oh, hey, much like the government, the people who hire you, the company who hires you doesn't actually truly trust you, but they'll trust you enough to actually work and make money for them, which is also kind of a funny concept, right? And in my opinion, any company in this country, period, that puts a criminal before the employee and before that paying customer should be boycotted and should be gone because it's ridiculous. And this is a lot of retailers. It really is. And there's some talk that some retailers are now thinking about going hands on, which is about damn time because it's been taking way too long for that. And with me working retail as long as I have, between, bakery, clothing department, security, parcel, cashier, I've worked so many different jobs. One of the things that made me just not want to go to work was, oh, hey, what's going to happen if I get assaulted and I defend myself? Oh, I get fired. Because at a store I used to work at, that actually happened to a young man. He came into work. He literally, was just coming to pick up his jack. And some dude bumps into him and then starts swinging at him. And this young man, he was a big young man, boom, knocks the dude out. Next day he comes in, he gets fired. He gets fired for defending himself on his day off. And the reasoning was, oh, he made the company look bad. Are you kidding me? No, he didn't. All the customers loved it. They loved it. The associates, they felt good, but the associates knew, oh, he's going to lose his job. He's going to lose his job because he defended himself. Didn't matter that, he defended himself on his day off and everything else. It's ridiculous that these companies will put forth policies that will literally tie the hands of the retail worker who works for them. Now, granted, I get the whole concept of certain things not being allowed and everything else because, certain people shouldn't be held at a certain kind of standard when it comes to defense of themselves or others because they might not have been in that kind of situation. But there are plenty of people who work for retail, who work for security, who work for everything, right? And it's an easy fix. Give them training. If you're going to sit there and waste time and energy on teaching them something that they've already learned over and over and over again every couple months to rehash to make sure they remember it, you easily can sit there and give them training to either defend themselves or have them sign a paper, right? A part of a contract that says, hey, if you defend yourself while at work and you sustain injury, you aren't going to sue the store. You know what I mean? Because if you, like, let's say I'm working security somewhere, I get hurt trying to, stop someone from doing something or whatever else, and I get hurt, I'm not going to sue the store. Now, granted, the store should definitely make sure that they take care of said employee and make sure that, hey, any hospital bills are taken care of. And then when the employee is healthy and able to come back, they come back. You know what I mean? Not they lose their job because they defended themselves. Now, one of the young ladies who called the cops, right, who lost her job, she had to use all of her life savings and had to hope and pray that, her unemployment, which she was lucky because there's a lot of people who didn't get unemployment thanks to Biden and his little administrator that he put forth for that to actually make sure that people got money, even though it went to criminals and places overseas. Amazing, huh? But she had to use all her money just to skate by, just to get by so that she can find a new job. And well, when something like that happens, a lot of places, especially like, if you get let go for a specific reason, half the time the company will be so vague to the point to where when you go for another job somewhere else, they won't hire you because of that. So I don't understand where Lululemon was totally fine with firing these two young ladies, but at the same time, I hope, I hope they never spend another dollar in that store, and I hope their families never spend a dollar in that store, and I hope a lot of other people sit and see that video and hear this video and go, how about we just not spend any more money on Lululemons when there's plenty of other, much cheaper ones that do the same exact thing. It's just not a name brand, right? There's plenty of stretch pants ladies that will look just as good on you as a Lululemon. Just saying. I tell that to my girlfriend all the time because she has one of those booties. So, hey, just make sure that if you're working for a company, that company will have your back. Because most of them won't. Matter of fact, actually, to a company, you're a number. And in all honesty, these companies aren't going to learn until either A, they start losing people at an alarming rate, and I'm talking about the worker. They lose people at an alarming rate to the point to where they can't even keep the doors open because they don't have enough people, and or the customers. So if you're a customer of a retail store, whether it be Walmart, Kroger, Target, Walgreens, Lululemon, or anything like that, or even, maybe you take public transportation, because I did a video on this, which was, the Charlotte bus shooting and how they fired the bus driver for defending himself. Now, granted, defending himself, wrong, and I think he should sue that company. Now, granted, would he win? Probably not. But it should still be allowed, considering a lot of companies like them are worried that they're going to get sued by the criminal and they'll pay out the criminal and not you. Which then makes it go, are these companies like Kroger, Walmart, Target, and other places that literally bend over to the criminal and say, "Here, take my money. I just don't want to go through a lawsuit." They'll literally give them hundreds of thousands of dollars to criminals who are clearly breaking the law. Are they actually contributing to the criminality? I think so. Kind of funny, right? And until these retail giants and other companies that have public transportation or allow people who are clearly criminals to go about the business that they're going about, then eventually a lot of these places aren't going to have anyone working for them and they will no longer be around. And then maybe, a company that's smart, that actually cares about the customer and the worker, because without the customer and without the worker, the company makes no money at all. Case in point, look at all the Walmarts, they're shutting down. Look at all the Walgreens, they're shutting down. Look at what Target did, and now they've lost billions of dollars. Or Bud Light, who lost billions of dollars. Now, see, with the whole Target and Bud Light thing, that's nowhere, it's bad and it was dumb, but they're not companies that are like freely allowing criminals to assault their associates and or customers. And that right there is where people need to literally wake up and say, "Hey, I'm going to call this company," because you can. In every single website for any company, there's a contact number where you can tell them and voice your opinion on how you feel. And I bet if you called them enough and you sat there and you also called the senators, called your governors, called your mayors, called any kind of representative you have and sat there and said, "Hey, why is this allowed? Like, I'm afraid to go shopping. I'm afraid to ride the bus. I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid to do that. I can't walk down my road without being afraid." Is not going to change until people start waking up and talking and saying how they feel. And if that requires you to go to your local news and say, "Hey, this has been a problem here for a very long time and it needs to change and no one's changing it," do so. Do so. There's plenty of people who will sit there and be on your side about it because there's plenty of people out there who've gone through it. So, Lululemon, y'all definitely fucked up on that one. And I hope those two young ladies who lost their job found something better, and I hope they actually found something that actually will care about how they feel when it comes to their defense. Because the thing is, Lululemon, what would you have done if those men, and I mean there were several of them, like 3 or 4 of them, and it doesn't matter if they were 16 to 21 or anything like that, because a 16-year-old young man can overpower a grown ass woman. They can, and it's been proven to be fact and shown time and time again. So, what, Lululemon, would you have done if those ladies would have been shot just by standing there allowing them to steal? What would you have done if they would have had their butts beaten to death or raped? What would you have done? Because at that point in time, they are definitely allowed to sue you because you didn't put their security to heart. You didn't care. It's obvious that you don't care. So, in my opinion, anyone who works for Lululemon who happens to see this or has a family member who works for Lululemon, sit there and say, hey, y'all might want to get another job. Y'all might want to go over here, might want to go over here, or go over there, or go do this, or go do that. You know what I mean? Because it would be better working somewhere, anywhere, than somewhere where they allow you to be assaulted. Period. Or allow anything to happen that's going to cause the loss of your job. Because even if those 2 young ladies would have just stood there and allowed them to steal the store, you can guarantee that Lululemon would have been like, hey, sorry, but we're closing this store location down because sales are horrible and theft is up like crazy. It's like, well, yeah, because you're not stopping the theft. You're not allowing the theft to end. And a lot of these places that a lot of this stuff is happening is all Democratic run. It's all lefty run, liberal run, all that other kind of stuff. DAs allowing criminals out because they want to be soft on crime. Well, the criminals don't care. And the criminals are loving it right now. And if you've never seen RoboCop from the 80s, watch the 80s version of RoboCop and then take a good look at what Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, freaking Washington, and I mean Washington above Oregon, Seattle. Look at Seattle. Look at what CHOP looked like. Look at what Oregon's looking like. Look at what all these locations were. They're strictly run by Democrats. The blues, the lefties, the liberals, right? The ones who are like, oh, everyone matters, but yet not the real retail worker. Well, eventually, y'all are going to hurt enough, just like Target does. Just like Bud Light does. Just like every other company that's gone woke and is going broke. It's going to happen. So until these companies wake up and get their heads out of their butts and think, oh, hey, we're going to be totally fine. No, you won't. Like, look at Walmart. They're already hurting as big time. They're the worst out right now. So, if you want to keep your stores open and you want to keep people working for you and keep people shopping at your stores, stop locking things up, start punishing criminals, and get this crap off the streets. And I mean you DAs who aren't doing your jobs, but yet you're getting paid. In my opinion, I think a DA needs to start having actual arrest records and people thrown in prison. And if you ain't doing your job, such as, oh hey, this person assaulted somebody, there's clear evidence and proof of it, and you're letting them out and not throwing them in prison because you feel bad, guess what? That's a loss for you. And if you get 3 losses, you should be removed as a DA. Period. District attorney, your job is to throw criminals in jail and prison. And you're getting paid to just do this. Twiddle your thumbs. That's all you're doing. You're just like, do, 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 do. Oh, I don't see anything. As long as it doesn't happen to them, they're fine. And watch. When things start going towards the upper echelon areas where all these big name people are living, and they start taking a bigger hit to their wallet, their tune's going to change. Right now, all these upper echelon people in, Los Angeles, Hollywood, and all this, they're like, it's totally fine. But until they start losing more and more money, or they don't have the money they used to have, their tune's going to change. So, like, share, subscribe. I hope you all enjoyed this. Spread the word out there and everything. And let's show these companies that they don't run anything, technically. It's the people who work for them and the people who shop at their locations that keep them afloat. And they need to relearn. Who is the important ones? Is it the company heads Or is it the people who keep the company afloat, which are, like I said, the associate and the customer? So, spread the word out there, guys. Boycott Lululemon. Because if they're going to fire people for calling the cops, they shouldn't get no one's money, especially anyone who supports the police. So, catch me for the next one, guys. I'll be doing one on how to stop retail theft. And it's so easy. There's only 4 tips that you need. That's it, just 4. And I'm going to go in depth. Like, share, subscribe, spread the word. Have a good one, guys. Later.